Hey! Today I'm here to speak in defense of the humble button. We live in an ever-increasing society of touchscreens and touch devices. Why, you may be asking yourself, am I advocating for the lowly button? Well, sometimes I'll be running around at work looking for a calculator, like a physical calculator. And one of my coworkers will often ask me, well, why don't you just use your phone? The simple answer is, often it's a lot easier for me to do that with a physical calculator if I'm going to be crunching a lot of numbers. It's more accurate for me, often. If I'm using the old phone, I'll often make some mistakes, hit a wrong number, have to clear out. It can take me longer to do the same task. For a short burst of numbers, it's great. But if I'm doing a lot of data, this guy is better. Well, not necessarily this one. The buttons are kind of spongy, but still I'd prefer this over the touchscreen. A 10-key device with a roll of paper attached to it, that's really great for that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with using the phone for this. It's great. It's just not the ideal tool for the job. This is awesome because it can do multiple things. That's where this guy reigns supreme. In fact, another area where I like a physical object rather than using a phone is for a remote. The iPhone and Android both often have remotes for web-connected devices that you have in your home. But by using the physical remote, I can just click without even looking at the remote. I know where all the buttons are. It's almost like touch typing. The TiVo remote is the same way. They've got their own app, and it works. It's kind of neat too, because on their app you can get download shows and a bunch of other stuff that's not necessarily available through the remote, but just for your normal TV viewing, this is pretty awesome. One of the reasons that I decided that it was time for me to actually come out and make this video is that Apple had recently, I'm not sure how recently, probably a few months ago, filed a patent for a keyboardless, well, not necessarily keyboardless, but a trackpad type touch surface instead of a keyboard for a laptop. Some of the specs described in the patent were light-through keys that would show the where the keys are, and I would assume that they would use something like their haptic feedback that they have on their new MacBook for their trackpad. Also, like, it showed various other spots for like a 10-key setup next to where the trackpad is and that kind of stuff. Well, that's all fine and good, but have you tried typing on an iPad? Like, it doesn't work very well. I learned touch typing a long time ago, and using a mechanical keyboard, I can go upwards of 60 words per minute. On an iPad, not so much. Now, younger people who have been growing up with touchscreen devices could probably go quicker than I can on them, but I don't think many people can hit as fast a speed typing on a touch surface as they can on a physical keyboard. I mean, membrane keyboards are bad enough. So just imagine having no travel in the keys, not necessarily being able to discern where they are by touch, and it just seems like a nightmare scenario. The other places where buttons reign supreme are with cameras. I would show you mine, but it's obviously in use. DSLRs have a great number of functions, aperture priority versus shutter priority, changing your shutter speed, your aperture, all on dials and wheels. People have advocated for touchscreen controls of all these things, and I think some of the newer DSLRs do have touchscreen access to these settings on the back of the camera, but they don't replace the actual physical buttons. I think Panasonic or someone did come out with a touchscreen, primarily touchscreen phone camera hybrid thing that doesn't seem like it's around anymore. I did some searching before I started doing this video. I don't think it did very well. For the reasons I'm describing, if you want to be able to change something quickly, you need to be able to just feel around on the top of the camera, find the button, and be able to switch it. Another area where I think that people's sensibilities for design aesthetics outpace their sensibilities for ease of use is with car controls. A great many new vehicles are coming out with touchscreen center consoles. The new Tesla being like the primary example I can think of off the top of my head. Whereas when you're driving down the road, you don't want to have to take your eyes off the road in order to be able to change the volume of your radio or whatever. Being able to either have a button on your steering wheel or reach over and just feel and grab the dial is not only easier, but much more conducive to safe driving. That's just my humble defense of the button. If you agree, disagree, let me know in the comments. I'm not a crazy person. I'm not advocating that we all go back to slide rules. It'd be kind of neat if we did.